Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to March's Customer Education Roundtable. We do this once a month, every month, to just really connect as a community, get together, and learn from each other. You know, I've been running this community for over 2 years now, and the number one thing I always hear back is I learn the most from my peers, and there's so much information just sitting in the community waiting to be extracted. And so the point here is to really just interview people, hear what they're building, and share each other's journeys, document this, so we will share a recording of this after, so we can have this going forward. Today, I'm really excited to have someone I've known in customer education for a long time, think of them as like a personal mentor, and has been like an absolute leader, rock star in customer education. Wow. So a lot of you already know him, and this is a man who doesn't need an introduction, customer education, but we have Daniel Quick from Asana. He is currently the head of customer education at Asana, but has been at many customer education programs before, including companies like Optimizely and Ability. I was stalking him on LinkedIn recently and found out the man has not one, but two master's degrees in education, one in educational leadership and technology and one in education psychology. I didn't even know those things were masters. So that's kind of awesome. Would love to hear a little bit about how you got there. But before the other part here is I want to hear from you as well. So the community is growing. Last time we did this, there was maybe, first time we did this, there were maybe like 5 people in the room. This time we have almost around 50 people here. So one thing, Daniel and I have been discussing a lot about customer education over the years. We agree on a lot of different things, but we also disagree on a lot of different things. And so what I thought I'd do is ask you to help a tiebreaker here. We've been having this debate for a long, long time. And I was like, there's only one way to find out, which is to really ask the community. So what I'd love for you to do is head over to slido.com on your mobile phone. So pull out your phone, go to slido.com, and type in the code SED, which is short for customer education, and really help us pick the winners here, because this is a debate that Daniel and I haven't been able to resolve. We won't tell you who's on which side just yet. But there's Team Tacos and there's Team Ice Cream as your ultimate guilty pleasure. Okay, so we have about 25 votes. Daniel, who do you think is going to take home the Customer Education Hat Award?
I mean, it's got to be tacos, because who doesn't like tacos?
Tell me why.
Because tacos are delicious. They can be savory, but they can also be sweet. There are sweet tacos as well.
I have ice cream tacos.
And, you can eat them as a meal. Ice cream, I think ice cream, it's true that everybody does like ice cream, but myself, as I've told you, I actually can't really eat ice cream without getting a little bit sick. So yeah. I think that's going to be the issue that will divide the audience.
All right, 30 votes in, drum roll for the winner, and it is wow, look at that. Two-thirds takes home the prize for ice cream. So this is Team Ice Cream right here.
Congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Two other things that I just wanted to point out before we jump into the main session. We'll be using both the Zoom chat as well as Slido throughout the day, or throughout the session. So if you have any questions that you want Daniel to take personally, please go to slido.com, and there's a place for Q&A. That way you can ask questions and you can upvote and downvote people's questions. So we're only pulling the questions that most people care about. And then if you guys want to chat with each other, you can definitely use the Zoom chat like we have been. We'll be keeping a record of that as well. So just make sure if any questions you want Daniel to answer personally, make sure they go to slido.com. And Imtiaz, I'm going to nominate you as our sort of second moderator today. So if there's any chat that you want to call out, I'll check in with you every 10 minutes. So just make sure you're monitoring the chat, taking some notes on some of the things that we discussed. Just so we have someone as a second point. Okay, so we have over 53 people here, and the topic for today is really to understand how Asana, which is a company that's seen a tremendous amount of growth over the past, thinks about customer education, thinks about customer onboarding, thinks about that user journey. Just quick show of hands, just raise your hand if you've used Asana in the past or use Asana currently. Okay, so a couple of people. Right, I personally use Asana, and Asana is maybe I'll let you talk a little bit about what Asana does. But for me, what's most interesting to know is that Asana is a tool that can do so many different things. So as a consumer, I might not know what I should be doing, which is a challenge for a lot of people. Where they're like, I know this can do so many things, but I don't know where to start, or I don't even know what other people are doing. So talk us a little, maybe give an overview of what Asana is.
Yeah.
And then, how you guys approach onboarding your customers and helping them understand Asana.
Yeah, so essentially Asana is a platform that allows you to structure your work and ensure that your work is not falling through the cracks. It lets you track and orchestrate all the work that you're doing, all the work that your team is doing, everything from the small daily tasks that you have to do to the large strategic initiatives. Most of our customers who use Asana like to say, if it's not in Asana, it doesn't exist. So it's really important when companies are using Asana that everybody's in Asana using it, collaborating, tracking their work. So I think I didn't actually use Asana a whole lot before I came to Asana. I think I used it a little bit at Optimizely, but I thought it was kind of an onboarding checklist or something.
Yeah.
Once I started using it, I found myself far more productive because I'm the kind of person that has a lot of stuff swinging in my head and I have to get it down somewhere, but I was getting it down on Post-it notes or at this little notepad I carry with me. Now I just, create a task and assign it to myself and I can triage it later, track it, add people to it. So it's helped me be a lot more productive.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about the company growth. I know you've been there for over a year now, maybe
almost 2 years. Yeah,
2 years. So just tell us a little bit since your time, like, just so we get some context on, like, what does your user growth look like? Are you onboarding hundreds of users a week? Is it more than that? What's the freemium situation? Like, tell us about how the company is structured.
So as a company, we are growing very quickly. I was hired a couple years ago, somewhere around employee number 200 or so. We're up to about 800 or so now. So a lot of growth in the last couple of years. We have this business model that really thinks about customer education through a lot of different lenses. We are looking to seed a company and different teams. A company like yours, there might be one specific team who starts to use Asana. And they hopefully will talk another team into using Asana. And that's what we sort of land once more than one team uses Asana. And then hopefully they'll bring more and more teams in, and then we can expand into the entire company and really make Asana part of their work infrastructure. So when we think about customer education, we're thinking about how to enable self-service customers who don't really get dedicated customer success, how to enable free trialers who are just looking to try Asana before they buy it. And then as we started to move into the land and expand plays, we're looking to enable customers. We have a lot of customers will get a dedicated customer success manager, but education plays a role there as well through our training services. So we're really thinking about the entire customer journey, and we have a lot of different types of customers. So we sort of divide that out by personas.
Got it. Okay. And so within Asana itself, you said there's a lot of customers that are coming in as free and then they upgrade, and some that are just enterprise customers that are started buying Asana upfront. So from an internal perspective, how do you split between those? Specifically, maybe tell me a little bit about what are the different parts of the program and how are you structuring those?
Sure.
for those different personas.
Yeah, I think we actually have a slide that will help with this.
Perfect. Whoa, there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on here, but when you're talking about the customer journey and all the different programs that align with it, there's a lot there. So I just kind of whipped this up last night just to sort of illustrate. When we think about the customer journey, you're going through this journey that starts with customers researching and evaluating, driving awareness of what work management is. I think that for a pretty large percentage of people out there, they don't really know. They know that their work is falling through the cracks, but they don't really know how to help that. They know that they can do better, but they're not quite sure what to do. And so the education there is really not just about a tool, but also about what work management is more broadly.
Okay.
So we have a lot of resources around that. I have these color coded where there are sort of key teams that are driving the work here.
Okay.
So content marketing is really driving the work around creating top of the funnel resources, webinars, ebooks, etc. And the content marketing team also owns our Asana blog. So that's a way for us to educate around really high-level conceptual stuff.
Word productivity.
Yeah, productivity is a
work.
really, exactly. That's a really good example.
Okay.
I think one of our most popular ones is 5 tips to be more productive in 2020. But of course, we're going to weave a little Asana in there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. That is what content marketing's job is.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. And then once the users are sort of trying and buying, once they're in a free trial, for example, they're really tapping into quite a few different resources. For example, in product education, we have a product team called our FX team. That's our first experience team.
Wow.
They're thinking explicitly about how to create an in-product experience that helps new users educate themselves about what Asana is. And it's not like throwing these big videos at people. It's really thinking how to make it elegant and brief, using different types of infrastructure that we've built out in the product, coach marks, tool tips, top bars, modals, etc. They can sort of launch them at strategic times.
Yeah. And I think about those small moments of delight that you check the task, or at least the first task you check, you get some sort of unicorn flying.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear from the audience. I just want to check in with them. That list on the left, I love that color-coded list: community, user operations, product, content marketing, customer edit. Sounds like there's another one, which is FX, first user experience.
The product.
Maybe that's part of product. If go ahead and tell me in the chat if you have those teams, and if not, if you could pick one of those 5 to add to your current setup, which team would you add first? Because I'm looking at that list and I'm like, I think we have, and actually we don't, right? I think for Gong, we're missing the community aspect, right? And I think that's something that I've been thinking about along. Is it customer education? Is it a different team? So curious, what would you pick if you could have additional resources? It might be within customer education itself in that list. Okay, so people are saying first experience sounds very impactful. Content marketing, customer education, a little more. Content marketing. So it sounds like people are missing that top of the funnel. What even is work? What even is productivity? That's for you guys. For us, it's what even is sales? How do you be a better salesperson?
Yeah.
What are some tricks to close a deal faster?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Okay, so Inbar has a question, which is, where in the org chart are you located? I told you this is going to be the number one question. So we will get to that in a second. And Imtiaz, let me know, if there's anything that comes up that's worth addressing now. Just feel free to let me know.
Yeah, our user operations team is essentially what we call customer support at Asana, and so they really own our help documentation. So a lot of people who are familiar with Asana customer education think about the guide. And the thing about the guide
What is the guide?
The Asana guide.
Okay.
It's sort of it's a really good question. What is the guide? It's if you go to Asana Guide, it's both our customer education portal where you can find all the different types of customer education resources, and it's also sort of the specific guides. When you go to the actual guide, and I'll show you later, you'll see like these big squares. Those are actual guides, like a get started guide or how a ways to use Asana guide. Those guides are essentially really high-level education content meant for people who are early in the funnel, who need to just kind of grok what Asana is, and also maybe figure out, okay, you got this thing called timeline. Like, what is that? Like, how am I going to ever use that? So it's really high level, and that is owned by our content marketing team.
And where does that live?
It lives in content marketing. It's on the web.
Yeah, but it's like is it asana.com/guide or something
exactly.
like that?
I think that's exactly what it is.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I've been trying to broaden the definition of Asana Guide so that it's thought of less as the actual articles and more of the all-encompassing customer education program, similar to how at Optimizely we had the Optiverse, which is kind of all the different customer education programs. The Asana Guide is essentially where you will find all the different customer education programs. And as we look ahead in the future at Asana, you'll probably see that page really lean into more and more of a holistic customer education platform rather than one part of the ecosystem.
Okay, so got it. So we're in the research evaluate. We did the try and buy. We maybe read some blogs. We talked a little bit about how to Asana and like how to productivity. Where does customer education kick in?
Yeah, so a few different ways. One, once you are a customer, and excuse me, once you're a customer, which we define as you're a paying customer. The customer education team really kicks in and is explicitly thinking about how to onboard you and how to help you become a master of Asana, and ultimately, hopefully, using education as a leverage to get you to be a champion of Asana.
And when you say you're a customer, you mean the company, it's an enterprise license, and there's a bunch of individual users.
Not necessarily. So a company could have an enterprise license, but you could also be, let's say at Gone, you have a team of 10 people on the marketing team or whatnot who decide they want to use Asana, just their team, no one else in Gone uses it. And they decide to upgrade their free Asana account into a premium Asana account so that they can unlock some of the more advanced features.
Which is exactly
they would
what
be
happened, by the way.
a paying customer.
Got it.
And they can now have access to a lot of the resources that we develop for them.
Okay. So
that said, I do want to say though that our resources are not exclusively available to paying customers. All of our free customers can use our training resources, our Asana Academy resources. All you need is an Asana account, and a free account works just fine. It's just when we think strategically as a team, how are we going to create an Asana Academy course? How are we going to create a training webinar? We think about the premium plus customers. So we don't, for example, have like a free course and a premium course. We just really have a premium course, and we say, we're going to talk about this feature. This is a premium feature, just so that our users know if they are free, that this is what they get if they convert it to premium.
So just a quick note, if you're asking questions that you really want Daniel to take, please make sure you ask them on Slido.com in the Q&A section, because otherwise it'll just get lost in the chat. The chat is great if you just want to talk to each other or have comments about what we're discussing, but if you have a question for Daniel, just make sure it goes to Slido, otherwise it'll be hard to find. Okay, so tell us a little bit, so how do you actually get in front of these people? Maybe they've already been using Asana for 1 month and they're like, oh, it's a checklist tool. Like, I don't need education on how to use a checklist. I've been doing that for 20 years. So like, how do you get in front of these people? What's the buy-in? How do you ensure that they actually go through best practices and whatever amazing things you're building?
Yeah, you're really sort of bringing up a way in which we think of our customers. We have two different personas that we're really focused on. One we call Lost Lucy, the other one we call Eager Esther. People create these personas as just kind of a way for us to have a common nomenclature about the user's experience.
Imtiaz, make sure you take a note of that. Who are they again?
Lost Lucy and Eager Esther.
Lost Lucy and Eager Esther. I feel like we all have each of those in our companies as well. People that are like early adopters, really excited, eager. They're the early champions, and the people who are just like, everything is hard. Asana is hard.
Yeah.
Is hard.
So I mean, Lost Lucy, she comes into the product and she's got a sense that there's a problem, there's a pain. That's why she's using the product. But she's not really sure what work management platforms are all about. She has no idea what Asana is all about. And we really need to help her not only learn how to use the product, but give her an understanding of how a tool like Asana will help her team keep work from falling through the cracks. We also sort of, when we think about Lost Lucy, we think about all the people that are invited to Asana instead of like the ones who create an account. The ones who are like, okay, I'm a team lead, I'm going to create an account, and now I'm going to invite all my team members. They're coming into Asana and they have no idea what this is about either.
Yeah.
So our Asana training program is really designed to help Lost Lucy. It's about, we offer daily training webinars. We promote them in emails. As soon as you convert to premium, we send an email that you now have Asana training.
And those are live.
And those are live trainings. They're virtual instructor-led trainings, and we offer them daily. We have both sort of an Asana Basics and Asana Advanced, and then we're expanding that catalog as well.
And how many people go through something like that?
Yeah, so every day about 100 people.
So in a month, there's like 2,000 to 3,000 people going to live training.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause you there for a second. I think this is a pretty, like a moment of insight, which is Asana has made the strategic decision to say, we're going to focus on Lost Lucy because that's who we're trying to solve problems for. Eager Esther will probably more likely figure things out himself.
So, I wouldn't say that because Eager Esther, she's a different persona. She's the one that comes into Asana and is like, I know all about work management platforms. I am looking to see if Asana has like these 5 features.
Checkbox.
Yeah.
Like these 5 features
that are going to help me and my team. And so for her, she needs less of a daily webinar that kind of talks about work management and gives you sort of the basics. She kind of already knows the basics. What she's really looking for is to get advanced. She wants to gain mastery. She wants to know all about like a deep dive into the features. Yeah. She wants to know like how to actually do something specific, like an editorial calendar in Asana. And so for her, we've developed the Asana Academy. The Asana Academy is really aligned to Eager Esther's.
Got it.
And it brings you from that moment where you're like, I know about work management, but is Asana the right tool for me? All the way to, okay, I'm a total champion of Asana, and now I want to train my team on it.
I'm really hoping my boss is not listening to this webinar because he's going to ask me why we don't have our education aligned with personas like this. So we're going to pause for 2 minutes. I want everyone to take out a piece of pencil and a pen or whatever you use for note taking. And let's spend 2 minutes, because I want to do this for myself. Let's spend 2 minutes writing out the top 2 or 3 personas. Give them names if you want. Don't give them names if you don't want. But I think I'd love to leave this session with having those 2 or 3 personas for each of your companies. Who are those people? What are their pains? Daniel described one person who knows what she wants, and she wants to be challenged and wants to be validated and wants to go deep. He mentioned the other person, Lucy, who's like kind of lost, don't know why she's here. Either she knows why she's here but doesn't know what to do, or she doesn't even know why she's in Asana. So let's take 2 minutes and we'll come back and we'll discuss some of the answers. And if you're done writing them, go ahead and share some of those in the chat, just so we can keep a record of it.
When should I start answering some of these?
Yeah, I guess Sabero and Daniel, there's a lot of great questions on Slido to check out whenever it makes sense in the call. I know that there's people are upvoting a couple of different ones too, so I'll let you guys check those out when you got a second.
Okay, so I think most of the questions are related to.
Yeah, let me also just while you're finishing up, I'll talk one more thing about this. I'll say one more thing about this slide. So you see the Asana training, that's a program that we are driving. The Asana Academy is a program we're driving. The Asana Together workshops, those are sort of live instructor-led workshops that we deliver through the Asana Together program, which is a community program. So this is a co-effort between the community team and the customer education team. They put on the program, they do all the event logistics, we deliver and create the content for the workshops. But what's not on here, but is still a responsibility of our team, is we are responsible, we're sort of a center of excellence for education. And it's our team that has the instructional designers, the learning science geeks. So we're thinking about a holistic curriculum across the entire journey. And so while we're not necessarily writing the help articles or creating the end product education flows, we're always included as a consultant to have a voice at the table about how to best teach our customers, since we sort of have that domain expertise.
Got it. Okay. So that's a perfect segue into the next one, which is understanding when you said we, who is the we in customer education? So we'll talk about that in a second. Before we move on, I just wanted to give a shout out to Dave Howard. His personas, New Neil, Overwhelmed Ophelia, Transitioning Tina, and Focused Fred. And then Michael for Can't Change Carl. Natalie for Overwhelmed Oscar. These are absolutely fantastic.
I think we need to get these in a document because I want to read all of these.
We're going to put this in a Guru card, and Imtiaz is going to help us with that Guru card. Okay, so I think the question people have been asking on Slido, which is one of them, is you've been saying we this entire time.
Yeah.
Who is the we? What is customer education? What does it even look like?
So when I was hired almost 2 years ago, I was the first customer education employee at Asana. But that doesn't mean that customer education didn't exist.
Yeah.
We had a lot of different people thinking about customer education. And in fact, prior to my getting there was even a user education committee that consisted of stakeholders across
help, like content writers.
Yeah, and they would all get together every month and talk about what are we going to do to educate our customers and make sure everyone is aligned. They really needed to hire someone to kind of play a quarterback role and to really hold the entire journey in mind and to coordinate all these different initiatives across different teams. Now, since then, my team has actually grown into a team, and we are directly driving a few programs that are like more later in the funnel. But the way that Asana works, I have a slide that I want to show here. Where's the other slide with the network? Yeah, okay. This slide gives you an idea of what we call the AOR system at Asana, which is an area of responsibility system. So at Asana, part of your role is that you have an area of responsibility, and that area of responsibility is usually a child area of responsibility that reports into a parent area of responsibility that then sort of reports into another parent area of responsibility and so forth. And so so it's a horizontal structure, but it's very common to be reporting into a different team, have a different manager, but the majority of your work is an AOR that reports to that is folds into a parent AOR that lives outside of your team. So while you have a manager that is talking, your performance management, whatnot, coaching, the work that you do is really aligned with someone else's team. And so in that way, we like to think of the customer education team as not just people who are on directly my team, but are partners whose work, who have AORs that are related to the customer education parent AOR. And so it's a broad network. We call them our customer education partners. And when we have customer education meetings, we invite them, et cetera. But I know what people are really wanting is like the actual team structure.
Before we do that, raise your hand if your reaction to that slide was like this. Okay, Aaron, Sam, I appreciate your honesty here. Because he sent this to me last night, and I thought it was like one of those Google searched images that are, kind of like, haha, look at our crazy network, and we touch everything. But then I realized he was actually talking about how Asana thinks about their jobs and responsibilities, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. Shows complete, maturity of thought. I think one thing that the reason why these questions are top voted on Slido is because a lot of us personally and professionally struggle with our place in the org, right? This is why this question comes up again and again. This is why it's the number one question, because I genuinely feel like there's some lack of clarity, confidence, and trust in where we fit into the organization. And I think this is sort of I've never thought about it this way, so I appreciate you sharing this with us.
Yeah.
Because this is saying, look, we can show you the org chart, and that's going to look something like this, and there's going to be some lines, and there's going to be some boxes.
Sure.
But another way of thinking about your job and your contribution to your company is really thinking about what part of the customer's outcomes do you own, and it's not going to be a one-team job. It's not going to be a one-person job for sure. At Gong, customer education is a one-person team, which is me, but it's definitely not even a one-team job.
Yeah, and thank you, because that's really the point I'm trying to make. Because this by the way, this is an interactive map that our CEO actually created, where you can
All right, I'm done. I'm out of here.
Interact with it. You double click on it, and it brings up the AOR and who's assigned to it and what those responsibilities are. The point that I was really trying to make with this, yes, I believe it is Lucidchart. The point that I was trying to make with this was that I've worked in companies where customer education feels like a very centralized function. And in some ways, I feel like we worked in a silo a little bit, and we made every effort to be cross-functional, but it was challenging at times. Yeah. Whereas at Asana, it feels very decentralized, and while we have a customer education team, the customer education program is spread out among several different teams, and it just feels, I think, as a result, far more collaborative. And when you want to talk about Asana's secrets, like this, in my opinion, is one of our secrets.
All right, I'm going to pause there. Let's head over to slido.com/ or code is said. I just launched a poll on this idea of an AOR. I want to get some results just so I can take back to my boss, who is an extremely smart person. So Iran and Steve, if you're watching, hey guys. But yeah, I just want to get a quick sense of, have you heard about this? Have you not heard about this? Is this something that you're currently doing? If you're already doing this or don't think it's a great idea, choose the second option. If you're thinking about this, or this is the first time you're hearing about this, choose the first option.
So yeah, an AOR is an area of responsibility. It sort of is the boundaries that define the focus of your job, and it's connected to other AORs in the company, as you see here in this illustration. It's really about clarity.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is some of my, showing you some of the, look at that. 94% of the people out here are excited about this idea, which is just absolutely incredible to me. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I would not be doing my job if we didn't answer sort of the more tactical level question, which is like, what does that look like? So maybe you can spend a minute or two walking us through this.
Yeah. So customer education is nested in customer success. As you can see, though, I have a dotted line to our head of marketing. So it's sort of the team on customer success that sits at the boundary of marketing and revenue teams, as well as, I would say, the boundary of revenue teams and product. it is a very cross-functional team, and as you all know, if you're in customer education, you could probably make an argument for nesting this team in various different departments, but we've been intentional about nesting it in customer success because while there's a lot of different customer education initiatives across the company targeted to different parts of the customer journey, we need to have a team that is thinking explicitly about how to educate our paying customers so that they adopt Asana and become masters and ultimately champions of Asana. And that's really the primary focus of my team. In order to get there, you have to think of the entire customer journey and how to use education to nurture them through that journey. But our primary focus is really on creating masters and creating champions. So I have several different people on my team. I want to talk first about the customer education content lead. This person is thinking explicitly about our content across all of our different channels. What is the tone of our content? Where are there gaps in our content? How can we distribute our content through different channels? What is coming down the pipeline in terms of marketing moments or product launches? And how can we create a content map that sort of aligns with that? So really, this person is really thinking holistically about all of the customer education content. And by having someone who's sort of this learning architect, essentially, it allows me, which I think this role is often folded into the head of customer education, but by having her thinking explicitly about this, I can think more about the broader program strategy, about channel strategy, about people management. And so I think it's it's been really helpful to have this person really thinking about content and constantly looking for ways in which we can collaborate with other teams on these content initiatives.
Got it.
We also have an Asana training program manager. So this person owns the Asana training area of responsibilities, the AOR.
Cool.
They run our our daily training webinars. And new this year, we're going to have a training services program where customers can pay our training specialists to deliver a private training to them, either through virtual or on-site. And so that's new this year. So we're going to be hiring training specialists in the next month, and there'll be a team of about 3 at first, and that team will grow as the demand for training grows, and especially as we kind of make this team more of a P&L kind of team. And then on the other side of the map, you see the Asana Academy program manager. This person owns the Asana Academy AOR, and they are also sort of our instructional designer, our learning experience designer. And they're thinking about how to create self-paced digital content, how to use the Academy to delight customers. And if we have a certification program, it would fall under this person as well, which is a program we're thinking about certification, and probably we'll bring one online this year.
Got it.
And then I have in the green there, you can see content strategists. Those content strategists are the content strategists on content marketing, on user operations, the ones that are thinking about help articles or top of the funnel guide articles or the blog or in-product content. They all meet with our content lead, who has an education working group to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And so she's really working with all these different content strategists across teams.
And is there like a production? So I don't know if you guys do video. I know video's like been on top of mind, and it's one of those skills that it almost feels like it's like 10% away from where we want to be. So is that part of your strategy? If so, how does that fit in? Who's helping production there?
Yeah, so video is a really good example, actually, and one that we are doing a lot of thinking about right now. We as in the customer education team had an initiative to really think about video as, to really beef up our video and to create content that was more digestible, consumable, and also friendly across different channels. Yeah. You could have one in the product, you could do one through a social channel. And so we've launched a few new video series. What's New in Asana video series. that our content lead is driving, as well as an Asana Tips video series, which our content lead is driving in conjunction with our content strategist on the content marketing team.
Got it.
And so, yeah.
The production is happening in-house, and you're outsourcing?
We do have a production, in-house. We have a brand.
Which sits under marketing.
Yeah, well, actually, we have an Asana brand team that is part of the it's kind of an internal creative agency. There's design there, there's video capacity. And so if we get on their radar and we make a request, then they will help us create really high production templates, video templates that we can then leverage to spin additional videos out. And that's how we've been able to scale some of our video programs. But that doesn't mean that we don't do low production videos as well. If we're looking for a walkthrough, some kind of like, let me show you how to set up this workflow in Asana, we'll use Loom or something like that to do that.
I'm going to pause you. Time check. We're at 10:42, so we want to wrap up in about 2-3 minutes so we can get to all the questions we have.
Yeah, I want to show the stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So let's go through that really quickly, and then we have a couple of announcements to make. Okay. So tell us a little bit about the program. Maybe about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll jump into questions from the audience.
Great. Here's actually where I'd like to share my screen.
Go ahead.
All right. Great. Okay, let's see here. All right, so I just have a few screens, and I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, so bear with me. This is a project in Asana that has all the different objectives that our company's thinking about. I'm showing this because everything we do is tied to one of these objectives, and if you dig into these projects, you'll see tasks multi-honed to those projects. So what I love about this is that when our company comes up with the objectives they want to focus on, our team directly is connected with the work they're doing. You can actually trace the work they're doing all the way to those high-level strategic objectives. So the way that we do work in the customer education world, we have this backlog that we put all these different ideas on here. At the beginning of the episode, which is a 6-month period of time, we go through a planning exercise where we look at all the stuff on our backlog and think about what our strategy is for this episode and how this work relates to that strategy. Our strategy obviously should align with the overall business strategy, and then rate in terms of priority and estimated effort and estimated impact.
Huge, big, small, some, little, tiny, insignificant.
Yeah. And then once we've gone through that planning process, we've identified our roadmap. Now, this particular project is shared to a lot of different people. And this is where I say, this is what our strategy is this episode. This is our focus. And here are our KRs. And here are all the different milestones we're going to accomplish this episode. And I make a progress report every few weeks about this is what we've done in the last month. So for everybody who's added to this project, they'll get a status update. And then finally, at the end of, we have this project called Operational Metrics. This is how we're measuring success. So all the different programs that we have different types of metrics that evaluate velocity, reach, quality, and impact of our programs. And we can trace these through the different months to see how we're doing. And some of these become KRs, but most of them is just a holistic sort of picture of our program health so that we can triangulate and figure out how to improve. Now, if we're getting to the actual stuff here, this is the Asana guide.
Gotcha.
So these guides right here are created by our content marketing team. And we work very closely on developing the content for these guides, but they're top of the funnel guides, and so they're owned by our content marketing team. If you go down here, our knowledge base, these help articles are explicitly about product documentation and about resolving friction, and they're owned by our customer support team, our user operations, really designed to deflect tickets and to resolve moments of friction. Our community forum to connect you with other customers. Really great way to, if you have a really niche question. Our customers, we have a lot of champions on the forum who are quick to respond and give people excellent help. I always call this the gold mine because it's like there's so much gold there, and I wish more of our customers availed themselves of the expert advice that people give in this forum. You can go to the Asana Academy, which is, if you see the Asana Academy, this is the Asana Academy. We've got all of our courses here.
And your design team.
Yeah, it's really great to have a design team. And then this is our live training page. We actually are thinking about how to integrate this into the Academy. So that's probably an initiative we'll be thinking about in the next few months. And then we also have other things like our lessons. So this was just kind of a JavaScript that someone created a couple of years ago, actually. It's just a way for you to kind of click through, yeah.
It's like what you would see like as an in-product, like
we might actually do something like that and put it in product. And then we have some videos as well that you can watch.
Okay, give us the 30 seconds. Go back through that in 30 seconds with a little bit of your tech stack, because I know people are going to kill me on that.
Okay, so all of our guides are.
And Imtiaz, I hope you're taking notes, please.
So the reason why some people, I think, have asked a question about the guides, they look very similar. You can see that this is a content marketing guide, and this is a user operations help guide.
Oh my.
So they're responsible for the relative content in these channels, but the platform is the same. It's actually not the most scalable platform. We're using GitHub right now for all of our guide article content. And so we have a couple people who are experts at GitHub. It's like I said, it's not super scalable. I suspect in the next couple of years we'll probably move to probably in the next year we'll move to a different CMS.
Okay. So CMS.
Yeah, we have live trainings are based off of Zoom.
Zoom, okay. And registration is based off of Zoom as well.
Yeah.
Not using an LMS for registration.
No, not right now, but we think that we probably will, because we're using SkillJar for our LMS.
SkillJar for LMS. And
SkillJar has a native Zoom integration.
Nice.
So it's likely that in the next few months we'll fold those in there.
Cool.
And then we also have a YouTube channel. And that's where we put, see, these are some of our what's new in Asana. This person right here is our customer education content lead. And this is our new Asana tips.
And this is produced by content in conjunction, customer education in conjunction with like your...
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort.
Cool. All right. All right. So that is a quick tour. I will, I'll take screenshot back. So go ahead and pause that. Pause yours.
Okay, thanks. The knowledge base is our user. I'm asking a question, answering a question. Who manages the knowledge base? That's our user operations team.
Cool. Okay, so this is sort of exactly what you walked us through.
Yeah, it's just sort of like we plan things, how we execute. I love, if I wanted to give one suggestion here, the education working group. I love this. I love getting stakeholders across the company to meet. We also have these power hours that we do. A power hour is essentially time set aside every 2 weeks, I think right now is what we have it, where we invite education geeks to come and talk about a sticky issue. So it might be, all right, I'm redesigning the Get Started guide, but here's this issue I'm coming up. Should I teach this first or this first? And everybody in the room debates it. And I think it's a really great way for us to just foster this cross-functional collaboration.
Got it. So plan, obviously use Asana for it. If you don't already, shout out to Asana. We use Asana on the marketing team and it's great. Execute, I think there's some things for us to learn here. Maybe, we'll probably do a follow-up session just to go through that execute and evaluate section. And I know what we didn't get to today is what people have requested you to do as a separate session, which is really understanding how Asana thinks about customer education evaluation. It's a hot topic. We probably don't have time to get to it today, but we want to come back and learn about all those things that you talked about: velocity, quality, reach, impact. Okay, let's get a quick sense of what you guys are focused on right now, so Daniel can be as helpful as possible in the Q&A. As soon as we do this, I'm going to make some quick announcements about the group and the community, which I'm very excited about, and then we'll do Q&A. Great. All right, so some great topics coming up here. This, by the way, I just learned about a word cloud, and my mind is like absolutely blown. I'm like 30 years old and run a customer education program, and I didn't know about word cloud, so I'm a little embarrassed. But this is cool. So some big themes. A shout out to whoever's on the content creation side. We need a content creation Slack channel within our Slack channel, because my content is very okay. It's very mediocre. I wanted to be like top class. I wanted to look like Wistia's content out there. So if you are in there in the content creation hustle and you're like, I'm learning Camtasia while I'm learning video editing and lighting, while I'm learning about instructional design and psychology, shout out to you guys, because I'm in the same place and I would love to like create a sub channel to just go through some of what you've learned. Share some things that we've done at Gong, because Gong's content is actually pretty top notch on the marketing side.
So real, it really is.
Yeah, LMS Academy, thinking about customers, measuring impact. I'm surprised measuring impact is smaller. We did this a few months ago, and the measuring impact part was much larger. So hopefully people are making some progress there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make some quick announcements. Again, thank you for sharing. The first one is I just want to give everyone a huge shout out for helping us grow the community to more than 800 members. We started with 8 people, and so it's really crazy to see 800. I'm sure by the time we do this in 2 months, we'll be at 1,000, which is really awesome. And now we have people in 4 different continents, in like over 20 countries, and so it's really cool to see the community grow. So keep, please help us grow the message, send it out, share with your friends and colleagues. We love seeing more people. The flip side of having 800 members is I am personally struggling with managing everything that goes into running a community. I'm by no means a community manager and sort of like hacking this together. So I know I mentioned this a couple of times unofficially, but wanted to officially open up today. As of today, it's live right now, but we are introducing the Customer Education Council. And this is going to be basically a volunteer board of 6 or 7 people from the customereducation.org family to take on some different roles within and help me out and really help grow the community. So if you're interested in participating, there's a bunch of different roles that you can volunteer for. I made them up, so these might not even be the right roles that a community like this needs. So I'd love some feed, so I put a little others box there. So you can go to customereducation.org/ I'm still learning web development as well, so it's /pound council, which makes no sense as a URL. But you can just go to customereducation.org, the main website.
Hashtag council?
Yeah, oh, that's actually cooler. Yeah, like hashtag council. So you can go to the main website, it'll take you there. And just fill out this really shitty looking HubSpot form that tells me what role you'd be interested in. We'll have a council meeting where we'll talk a little bit about what your expectations will be and how much time this will take and what's in it for you. But it'll help me get the first list.
Tacos at ice cream, I love it.
What?
Tacos at icecream.com.
Yeah, put in your email. Again, like I said, I'm learning some like basic web development skills. So I'm like trying to show them off as much as I can.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's good.
All right, so let's get to some of the questions that we've had so far. Daniel, we'll keep this 5 minutes. So
do really brief, yeah. And obviously anyone's welcome to ping me on LinkedIn or on the Slack channel. I'm happy to answer any questions there as well.
Cool, so let's get started. Go ahead. Is customer education responsible for all onboarding, or does customer success orchestrate the bigger ones?
So the customer education team works in conjunction with the customer success team. Obviously, we're part of customer success. Our role traditionally had been to do onboarding for scaled customers or customers who don't get dedicated customer success. However, where the area that we're growing into now is if a customer success manager is working with an account and they want to do onboarding or training, they'll send them to us so that they can focus more on strategic conversations.
Cool. Where did you start when you started creating customer education?
So funny enough, when I showed that journey map earlier, all of the content at the left were sort of the channels that came on first. So we had a blog before we had a help guide. We had a help guide before we had a get started guide. We had and that came before our community, and those all came before our academy and our training program. So it's sort of like the deeper you get in the funnel is the more recent that we've turned programs on.
Cool. All right. Help articles in Asana guide seem similar. Do you have a specific example of something that's created by user ops? I'm gonna push this because we answered this a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can also follow up with Danielle personally to get a sense. Do you have a design process? Is change management part of your responsibility?
Yeah, so change management, so we've created a workshop called Help Your Team Adopt Asana, which leverages the Cotter's change management framework. And so we are thinking very much, as an entire team, the customer success team, but we're thinking a lot about how change management. It's so important for a product like Asana, where you need to convince your colleagues to adopt a new product. And our responsibility in that is to create an educational experience that essentially equips team leads with all of the assets they need, all the knowledge they need to go back and train their team and really help their team adopt Asana, which is not just about teaching them the product, but sort of leverages some change management theories as well.
Cool. All right. This one I like a lot. What would you recommend to start with when creating a centralized customer education initiative?
Well, getting all company education initiatives together. I think that this kind of thing is an organic result of being intentional about having cross-functional stakeholders get together and begin thinking of themselves as a greater team. Once you do that and you really start thinking about, all right, you're responsible, we're all sort of in this together. You're responsible for this part of the journey, you're responsible for this part of the journey. Then you can think, I would encourage you to think about maybe not so much centralizing customer education, but decentralizing it. And then have your own team be responsible for being very clear. Their clarity is really important, but have your team be responsible for certain parts of the customer journey. Our team is responsible explicitly for post-conversion onboarding and mastering.
Piece,
But that doesn't mean that we don't think about other pieces. We consult for sure, but I like the idea of a more decentralized structure.
Cool. Imtiaz, how do we do? What's one thing you're going to take away from today?
Oh man, picking just one thing is really hard, but I just right now what Daniel just said about like getting everyone aligned on the same page and feeling like you're in it together. As we grow here at Guru, it's like I'm finding there's just tons of different pieces that have to come together in order for like an academy and a program to really take off. And so it really does take a village. And so to put it all into a silo of like one team and one person feels like quite a large undertaking. And Sumaira, to hear you say that most of that's happening with you, it sounds super impressive, but I'm sure it's a super heavy lift. So getting more folks on board is probably, wise to make your life a little easier.
Cool. Daniel, thank you so much for your time and sharing those secrets from Asana. It's a company this, I'm a big fan and a raving fan of Asana and obviously of the program you've built. You guys have an award-winning program. We saw that at SkillJar Connect last year, and excited to see the next step for you guys. And for all of you joining, there's over 50 people here, so thank you for being a part of this. This is what makes it worth doing for us. And let's take the conversation. Thankfully, we have Slack to continue the conversation. Feel free to keep asking questions in general, and share the love, and we'll send out the recording in about a week.
Great. Thank you, Sumaira, and thank you all for participating. Again, feel free to hit me up, and it was very nice to be here.
All right.
Great time.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. All right. That was great.